I was actually going to say the man who needs no introduction that I got up here. So
Sorry.
yeah, we're blessed with infinite gifts. Thank you so much to Little Panda. That was amazing. And yeah, I'm really truly blessed to introduce our next speaker. I've never seen someone with so much passion and commitment and dedication that it just transfers into you the moment you watch his videos. So I'm just proud to welcome
when this clicks off,
Panda Man, Life
30
for Dinner on
minutes.
YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, the program.
As fasting and prayer.
Hello, everybody.
What did you say the title of this talk was?
Raw foods and fasting as a path for spiritual transformation.
Oh, raw foods and fasting as a path for spiritual transformation. Spiritual transformation. May the light of truth bless you, illuminate you, and fill you. The one holy light. Imagine that. Imagine sensitivity arising to that light from within through the dietary practices, using diet as a model and a medium for awareness. Pretty cool, right? Because when you start paying attention to what you put into your mouth, that can lead to what's going on in your mind. You may ask yourself, why am I eating this now? What am I eating? Where did this come from? And the inquisitive mind may end up finding the ultimate question. What am I? That beautiful inward journey. Many spiritual souls here today with the light in their eyes. Good to see. I'm in good company. 13 years ago, I read a great little piece of literature called The Essene Gospel of Peace. And that book was about raw foods and fasting. And a big hand reached out of the sky and that hand landed on my head and turned me around, a 180 degree turn. And I said, what is the raw foods? I didn't know what it was. I was drinking carrot juice and I would take a nice shot of wheatgrass before I'd go to the gym. And I would have these incredible workouts when I was bodybuilding. Now, of course, I'd go home and have filet mignon and stir-fried vegetables, but I would notice that the wheatgrass would always accelerate the energy in the workouts. And so I had been juicing carrot juice. I would get carrot juice, and of course I was moving in the direction of becoming more aware of my food choices. So there was like brown rice and steamed vegetables and tofu, but I ate too much tofu and I actually started to grow like a tumor in my chest, and I was scared. It was the size of a big marble. And I was asking everybody, well, what's going on? My other bodybuilding friends, I was asking my bodybuilder women friends too. I thought maybe they knew something that was like breast cancer or something, like too much soy. And then it just, how that you'd search, you seek and you shall find. I'm like, dear God, like what is going on here? I'm supposed to be healthy here. Why am I growing like a tumor in my chest? And I was like, stop eating soy. And I think I've had it 2 or 3 times since then, you know what I'm saying? So, raw foods and fasting for spiritual transformation. Fasting. Has anyone done 24, 36-hour water fast before? Most of you? Has anyone never gone 24 hours without eating? Yeah, interesting. The mind isn't particularly fond of fasting, but the body and the consciousness just seems to love it. It's such a release of pressure, of mental pressure, physical pressure, and you don't have the energy that you normally have. sort of saying, because you're no more running, your brain's no more running on glucose, but it's running on ketones, fat. So everything slows down. It's sort of like when you're in the middle of a water fast, the odds of you arguing with your mate significantly decrease. But when you're all hyped up on food, and you've got I call it the fumes of indigestion, so much stuff going on in your mind, 47 ingredients in your blood after that last raw food meal, it's not as clear. So that's why the fasting works on several different levels. And then, so there's the fasting at first, like such and such has this disease, okay? And the mucus is just built up in the body, the obstructions, right? So are we looking at fasting at what level? We can look at fasting as, first of all, okay, I have whatever, liver disease, or have lymphoma or a tumor or something, and it's like the masses of mucus have accumulated. Pockets of toxins, fried fat, hydrogenated oils, heavy metals, excessive amounts of starchy carbohydrates, excess sugar leading to acid conditions, and just that constant onslaught of the wrong foods. I can safely probably say that most of you have consumed wrong foods more often than you've consumed the right foods, meaning foods that are physiologically appropriate for a living human organism. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? Fruits and leafy green herbs and nuts and seeds. Foods that would be more a part of our natural diet in our natural environment. We're hairless creatures, we don't have fur. Hey Anthony, how you doing? Well, we've got some beautiful hair up here because of the Morocco Method hair care products. But as far as like being from the tropics, it's like, has anyone been to Hawaii, or you go to like whatever, and it's like, wow, you don't need to wear shoes, you don't need to wear a shirt. You're in Hawaii, right? You haven't worn shoes or a shirt for 3 days. You can go into Safeway with no shirt. That's just what they're used to. But then you come here and it's like, ooh. And then you go up more north and it's like, whoa. So you start eating foods potentially that are less physiologically appropriate. So the Eskimos live 50 years, you know what I'm saying? We should be living easily and effortlessly to 120 without any disease conditions, siring children in our 70s and 80s, if we so desire. Yeah, but we are, that being said, we don't want to get down on this. We've all been kind of bombarded from the very beginning. Mom was an overeater. Mom was eating too much mucus-forming foods, and it already started from before you even had a choice. Except for the highest level choice of the karma to choose the vessel to which you come through. But I'm talking about like your mom was eating pickles and ice cream because she was having the food craving because she wasn't getting the minerals that she needed for you to develop into a healthy human being, and your body already started to accumulate that mucus before you even had a choice, or before you could even consume solid foods. So the mucus and the sediment and the pus and the excessive metabolic waste left over from the inappropriate foods began to accumulate from day one. Soy formula, you know what I mean? And so that begins to accumulate in the system, and it can become quite hardened. And so every time we consume something inappropriate, your living organism is very intelligent. The intelligence that governs your organism. And it knows whether or not this is a physiologically appropriate food or not. And so if it is not, and depending upon the level of physiological inappropriateness, it will throw up that much mucus from the mucosa to protect itself. Same thing with drugs, recreational, pharmaceutical, and then, there's more benign cooked foods like some steamed broccoli. The body's kind of like, okay, it's not got that vitality, that water, that fiber that is recognizable by a living protoplasm. But, and then we go all the way down to much higher levels of the acid-forming foods, like the meats and the grains, which, you can have moderate amounts of those types of things and not get so far out of balance. But we are more so electrical, water, air machines. You know what I mean? So food is more of a stimulant than it actually is nourishment for the cells themselves. So safe to say, and I am guilty of this as well, I tend to overeat. Not today. Today I've had one 32-ounce jar of orange juice. I figured it would be appropriate to do a fast on raw foods and fasting while fasting. So I feel quite clear today. And I always feel better on less food. Anybody else? And yet, who has trouble at times moderating that level of intake because of emotional reasons, social reasons, and just that good old comfy feeling that comes because when we were eating those foods that did not deliver high amounts of bioavailable nutrition, we were pretty much starving. We would eat a big old bowl of macaroni and cheese and hot dogs, and our stomach would be full, and yet our mind was still signaling still hunger, right? Has anyone been like so full, and yet you're still like mentally hungry? Like you wish your stomach was bigger? Okay, and so, but once we start getting into the nutrient-dense raw foods, and we start increasing absorbability, and one of the reasons why I promote juicing so much is because everyone has so much mucus in the GI tract, in the small intestine, varying degrees, but you can rest assured if we all passed away today and we were autopsied, 80 to 90% of us would have more than our fair share of mucus buildup, mucoid plaque in the GI tract, affecting the absorbability of the nutrients in the food. So, and especially now that we're all into the raw food thing, most of you, I'm sure, at least you're at the Raw Living Expo, you're going in that direction of like, okay, these fiber foods will sweep that out. The water in the fruits and vegetables, it helps absorbability because it is absorbable through the water. Even the fats must be emulsified so that they're water-based and to be absorbable. And it's really a vibrational thing as far as absorbing the minerals for the electricity that are conducted through those minerals, see? And so we're trying to reach a place where we are increasing absorbability as well as enhancing our intake of those nutrient-dense foods. And so that would be, there's going to be one orange over here, and then there's going to be another orange. This orange was picked 3 weeks early, it was grown in crappy soil, and the tree was sprayed with toxic chemicals. Then here's Joe Blow, hippie farmer over here, who's been putting all kinds of stuff, and he, tills up his herb and marijuana and into the soil, and it's all composted, and he's like growing these oranges, and they're like magnetic, and they glow like the sun, and they're deep orange, and they're mineral rich, and they're sweet and ripened on the tree. And then he goes, let me see here. When you come to his farm, and he says, that one right there, give me the ladder. And that one, he knows that one's ready and ripe and fully ready to be absorbed. You see, and so many of us are missing that opportunity these days to get tree ripened fruits with seeds. You see, the seeds are going to keep us balanced. This is one thing I've been wanting to promote because there's so much of the hybridized fruit. Fruit is the best food, in my opinion, the sun food. And yet, without the seeds in them, my observation has been that when there's too much sweet and not enough of the nuts and seeds, inside the fruit is the best, but there tends to be sort of a weakness there. The nuts and seeds create a strength. So I'm not saying that you don't go through a detoxification program and you eat watermelon for 30 days or something because you've got colon cancer or something like that, or you drink green juice for 30, 60, 90 days or something like that and get a little bit, you get a little bit gaunt as the system is cleansing itself out to get down in there. The example I use is my buddy Lou Corona, because it takes a lot of courage to actually go all the way down and get rid of everything from the very beginning of the time when you were born, the build-up. And so to go down and to get into that build-up, Lou Corona fasted for 40 days and went down to 100 pounds. See, so a grown man at 5'9", 100 pounds is a gaunt-looking little stick figure of Holocaustal proportions. And it scares everyone. And they're like, I'm never going to do that. But if you really know what this is about, the raw foods and the fasting for the spiritual illumination, you'll know that the GI tract is intricately connected with the nerves, and that which is going on down here is affecting that which is going on up here. So for mental clarity and spiritual clarity, you need colonic clarity. See? And so there are many different pathways that are taken over the years for the teachers that have shared with us, the laymen, Paul Bragg and Arnold Arad and Hilton Hotima and Robert Morris is awesome, and Lou Corona, and we have so much to learn from those guys. There are many other teachers that went all the way to the end, you know what I'm saying, to where it was cleaned out, cleaned up, and everything was released and surrendered away so that the love could reveal itself and express itself clearly through this vessel. So when I read that book 13 years ago, there was several parts of that book stuck out, but when it said fast and pray until the Lord of the house returns, that has stuck with me and been in my head and my heart ever since. And to this day, I continue to cultivate the skill, the art of water fasting in my own life. And I've really turned it up this year. Actually, several months ago, I began doing a water fast every month. And each time that I do a water fast, I add one more day. Because it's not the easiest thing for me. But it's getting easier and easier and better and more. I look forward to it, you know? Like, I have to put it on my schedule. I have to, like, block it out, and I have to have everything off the schedule. But those are the times where each time I do a water fast, it isn't during the water fast necessarily for me that I've noticed, but it's after the water fast. As I begin to reintegrate, I not only look at my eating habits, and there's another level of awareness there, but I also have revelations that come, which help me with the work here that I'm doing, not only for myself, to reach that pinnacle of awakening and energy and light. And I like the way Gabriel Cousins said it. We had a wonderful meditation this morning with Gabriel Cousins to become a superconductor of the divine energy. And this happens on many levels. The physical level is one of the levels to prepare and tonify, to make peace with the body. When the blood is all gummed up and the mind is all clouded, it's a little bit harder to focus on the love. It's a little bit harder to focus and have that clarity of observation of self, the small self, so that you can observe, what is the small self eating? Why is the small self eating that? So you can become a better witness and awareness to the conditioning and the conditioned responses, so that you can become aware of the conditioned responses, and then you can begin to, if you so decide, to begin to make different choices, which may lead to more propitious circumstances for yourself, whether that's losing weight, whether that's having a more open heart, more clarity of a mind, eliminating a disease, etc. So really it's about awareness. And there's one thing that'll eat down that energy, that electromagnetic awareness, and that is like stuffing your stomach with too much food, you see? But now, it's so easy for a guy to get up here on stage and say that because he's read 100 books and he's had some luck here and there, you know, having self-control. And if it wasn't for this vision that's in my heart, that was placed in my heart 13 years ago by a divine light, to fast and pray until the Lord of the house returns, to clean up the house, to make a place worthy of the divine light. Not that anyone isn't worthy, because we are saturated and surrounded and filled by that light right now. But to continue the path of tonification of this body, this heart, this mind, so that we can become more aware of that inner light, and we can spend more time focusing on that as our true self, so that we can one day not only know about, all of you know about it, many people around the world know about it, but to truly know it experientially, to really taste the divine nectar flowing through your being, you know what I mean? To know who you really are for real experientially, you know, is what can help to uplift mankind. Then you never have to say anything, but simply by being what you are. You can sit in a mountain cave and be in that place of peace, and you will be uplifting mankind. Or you can be out in the fray making videos about chemtrails or detox, or you can be a pastor at a church. But whatever you do, that knowledge of self can be transmitted to others, and so that they can be given that silent transmission of permission to be themselves fully. That's the hardest thing for me. This particular group makes it very easy for me to be me and to speak, because I know that your hearts are good and your minds are curious, and you know me fairly well already. And so to be our true selves, and then we can drop the shoulders. We don't have to, you know how you're in certain groups and you're like, oh, can't say that to that person, can't say that to that person, can't be that to that person. It's like self-consciousness city. You know, you're just like, don't tell grandma that, man, you know. But then there's other times, you know, when you can really be yourself and you don't have to put on a show anymore. And I think that's part of that spiritual illumination, when you know who you are. And I'm only speaking mostly from the theoretical. Lots of books, lots of hope, lots of prayers, like I'm a messenger. I'm the messenger of the guy who's still on the path and has not arrived to the island. I'm still swimming across the ocean, navigating the waves, you know. I see it though. I see it. I sense it. I feel it. I know it's there. I know it's real. My soul knows that the light is real. And yet, I don't think I'm going to be able to go into the laboratory and produce any double-blind studies anytime soon. So we're all just going to have to go on faith that there is something magnificent and incredible that governs this universe. And then if we can have the audacity to assume that that is inside of us, and we can connect with it, and maybe it'll bring tears to your eyes, because you can't really think about it too much, about how much you love it and how much you appreciate it and how indescribable it is. And you're like, well, it's, I mean, you know, God is, I mean, well, you know, it's like, it's so big, and then it's like, yeah, expansive, and well, you know what I mean, these words, and there's no words. And yet I'm fortunate enough to, through this art, share my love for the love that is the eternal divine presence. That is the goal. That's why, like with the raw foods, yeah, I get rid of cancer, and that's so easy. I mean, I'll say simple, maybe not easy, because you've got the programming, and you can't give up the MSG, and you can't give up the saccharin soda that's giving you brain damage, because you're addicted to the neurological stimulation from all the toxic chemicals. So I won't say easy, but I'll say simple. Here's what you do, A to B, and if you do it, this is exactly what's going to happen. The mucus is all going to get flushed out, your kidneys are going to start working, your lymphatic system is going to move, your brain is going to get activated, you're going to get mineralized, the electricity is going to start getting to the cells, you're going to get hydrated, and then you're going to be able to, you know, reach down and touch your toes, and it feels pretty good, you know what I mean? You can run and hike, and you keep your good body, and it's nice. Then you have that vessel, see? So you can get, you know, the raw foods for that level. But then, now what? You see, so for me, from the beginning, I never really had a disease, unless you consider like depression and drug addiction a disease, which technically they're not, but technically they are. You know what I mean? It's like medication for the medication. Like they medicate you, and then you need medication to deal with the heavy effects of this life, because you were told this. No one ever said, hey, you're awesome. The light of God wants to burn bright in you. Allow it. What's your creativity? What do you want to be when you grow up? You can do anything. Nobody, I mean, some of you maybe, not me. I had to figure that out on my own. So I want to be that like parent that you never had, to tell you that I know by looking in your eyes that you can do anything you want to do, and you can be totally free and happy, you know? And I'm learning that now. I was like, look at what I do. I mean, it's like I just turn a camera on and all of a sudden it's like it goes around the world, and it's like I don't edit anything. It's like so effortless and easy and fun, and this is what I'm supposed to do. But it took me forever to find that, you know. And there's other people that are younger that were given that gift, you know, that gift of of knowing that they're infinitely potential, you know, so that then they don't have to do the recreational drugs because they're so depressed because the here's what you were told, and yet here's what reality is, that you're take your shoes off and go to the hot springs and take your clothes off and soak for a few days, relax. You don't need to get a day job yet, you know. You don't need to get a house and pay bills and get married. You can run around and be free for a while, and then let that stuff come to you as you decide what you want to do. So we medicate ourselves, you know, with those recreational drugs. That was my experience. It's like, wow, I could never be what they told me I'm supposed to be. And I've freed myself a bit more than the average maybe, but you know, there's still another level of freedom, which is up here, which is another reason why we do the cleansing and the healing and the fasting, is because we want to realize that the ultimate freedom, and again, Gabriel Cousens said it this morning, which it's such a beautiful thing that we need to learn, is that it's the externals doesn't matter. You can be a millionaire with 5 houses and be totally free and totally unattached. Or you could be a millionaire with 5 houses and be so stressed out, pulling your hair out, hating life. So it doesn't really matter. It's an internal thing. So I'm really working on that myself with like environments. Blaming environments or something like that is not taking full responsibility, or blaming other people for bringing challenges into my life, you know, or something like that. But taking full responsibility for my freedom. You know, so I'm going to continue to use the raw foods to energize and electrify, and then over the next couple years to master the art of water fasting. It's like a hobby. It's like to really get down there deep to the core, to the DNA, to activate DNA that I never even had a chance to activate. Imagine the growth hormone that takes place, the balancing of the hormones, the regeneration of the endocrine glands, the clearing and the cleansing of the debris on the nervous system, the joints clean up and get fluid and loose again. The electrical energy can be really enhanced. And I would encourage everyone, I don't do talks on fasting so much. I just say that you should read some books on fasting. And then what I've noticed is that when I eat just very moderately, you know, when I walk right down that line, not too much, not too little, that's in an eating phase, 2/3 full, very simple combinations, keep the mind clear. You know, it's when we get bogged down, too many combinations, too much digestion, you lose that energy. So you've got this energy, and you want that energy to grow and grow and grow through the raw foods and the fasting, that inner light. And then you want the body, by following the laws of nature, you can tone up and tune up this body to make it a better receptor and vehicle for that light, and so that that light can express itself, because the light is there in the 400-pound person who can't get out of bed, but it's not able to express itself very well, is it? That person can't get out of bed and can't make soup at a soup kitchen, or can't even give $5 to the guy at the grocery store to help him, whether he's going to buy beer or who cares, you know? The healthier you are, and even the more abundant you are, the more you can give to this world, you know? And so that's another one of the reasons why we want to continue to tone up and tune up this body, you know, to become a superconductor of that energy, to be able to really be free. And the more peace that we achieve with the body, the more love we can experience in our heart, the more peace of mind we have, the more flexible we can be. We can be there for people, and we have less needs. You know, so that's part of the fasting process, is to surrender these perceived needs, addictions, if you will, habits. Because, you know, we love to eat, but you'll find out through the process of fasting that you can go 7 days without eating, not slow down a bit, You actually get more work done. I do. I get 3 times as much work done when I'm water fasting. So, oh cool, someone's water fasting right now, yeah. I'm gonna go do another one when we leave here. And for the next couple years, I'm going to continue to master that art and take it all the